Welcome back to Plot 27 Recaps. Madison is a single mother who falls asleep in front of her laptop. That night, she has a bankruptcy filing webpage open on the screen. Madison suddenly wakes up after hearing strange noises. She quickly checks the house and sees that her two young children are still asleep. After returning to her desk, Madison sees a horrifying human-like figure appear and slowly move toward her. Closing her eyes, she keeps repeating to herself that it is not real, and the creature eventually disappears. Thinking she is safe, Madison reaches for the phone, but the terrifying figure suddenly appears again. The next day, two paranormal investigators named Miguel and Marcy inspect the house. After checking the property, they quickly leave after discovering something terrifying on their EVP device. Once they are gone, Madison's two children arrive home from summer camp, Haley and Jacob. It turns out Haley can also see the creature without her mother knowing. A social worker named Mrs. Wallace visits Jacob. She sits down with him to discuss an incident where he beat another boy unconscious. Believing his inability to control his anger comes from guilt over his father suddenly leaving, she suggests that he write a letter to him as a way to take responsibility. At school, Madison sees Jacob talking with his science teacher, Nikolai. Jacob is highly intelligent, and his abilities are far beyond those of his classmates. It is later revealed that Madison is secretly in a relationship with Nikolai. Jacob admits that he feels something is wrong with their house, but Madison quickly reassures him. That night, Jacob becomes terrified after seeing the creature. He closes his eyes and tells himself it is not real, causing the creature to disappear once again. Haley has also been seeing the creature for a long time. She asks Jacob if the entity might be their father, but Jacob insists that it is not. The next day, Jacob begs Madison to leave the house immediately, but Madison promises that she will handle it. While outside in the yard, Madison is approached by a man named Austin. He claims to represent a company interested in purchasing her property. Austin assures Madison that they are willing to pay far above market value. He explains that her land is extremely important to their future plans. Before leaving, Austin gives Madison his business card and says he expects to hear from her soon. At summer camp, a boy named Danny bullies Haley. Seeing this, Jacob loses his temper and breaks Danny's nose. Madison scolds Jacob after they return home, even though she understands that he was protecting his sister. She tries to make him understand that he cannot keep losing control of his emotions. While they are arguing, Haley starts talking to something behind the closet. She slowly approaches it, only to become terrified after seeing a monstrous figure. One night, Nikolai comes over for dinner. The two briefly talk about their lives before meeting each other. Madison mentions her ex-husband's anger problems and explains that she eventually became fed up and asked him to leave. Nikolai recalls his former job, where he disagreed with his colleagues' methods and was ultimately forced to resign. Danny and his friends later egg Jacob's house. When Danny is about to throw a rock, he suddenly runs away in fear after seeing a horrifying figure standing in the window. That night, while the family is asleep, objects begin floating around Haley's room, and a pair of bloody arms stretch down from the ceiling in Jacob's room. Madison wakes up after hearing Jacob scream and rushes into his room, but the apparition has already vanished. Moments later, Haley screams in terror after seeing a ghostly figure emerging from the wall. The three of them immediately try to escape the house. The ghost attacks Haley and Jacob, leaving burn marks on their arms. As Madison and her children attempt to leave, Jacob suddenly collapses near the front door. Madison panics even more when Haley also passes out shortly afterward. She carries both children back inside the house, but strangely, they suddenly wake up as if nothing ever happened. The following day, Madison calls a doctor to examine the children. After running several tests, the doctor says that both of them are perfectly healthy. After hearing Madison's story, the doctor suggests that stress may be causing the incidents. Unsatisfied with the explanation, Madison begins searching for answers online. She eventually discovers a case involving a scientist who was unable to leave his laboratory for months after conducting experiments with a proton accelerator. Austin continues pressuring Madison to sell the property as soon as possible. However, because Madison believes they are somehow unable to leave the house, she asks for more time before starting the paperwork. When Austin mentions her financial troubles, Madison angrily points out that she is only 1 month late on her mortgage payments. Austin coldly replies that his company is the one deciding how late her payments actually are. After Austin leaves, Madison hears knocking at the front door, while the washing machine suddenly turns on by itself. Nikolai arrives to check on her, but he quickly prepares to leave after hearing Haley call for her mother. As Madison tries to retrieve Haley's doll, she becomes trapped inside the laundry room. Hearing her screams, Nikolai rushes back, but suddenly every door and window locks shut. A horrifying creature crawls out of the dryer and slowly approaches Madison. Just as Madison and Jacob are in danger, Nikolai manages to force the door open, causing the creature to disappear. Madison explains that she has already called many people for help, but no one believes her. Nikolai then contacts his former colleague and borrows equipment to record and study the paranormal activity inside the house. Meanwhile, Madison and Jacob meet again with Mrs. Wallace, who is disappointed that Jacob has gotten into another fight. She warns them that if Jacob cannot control his anger and continues acting violently, it will become harder to keep him out of juvenile detention. She also advises Madison to seek legal counsel because Danny's parents are likely planning to press charges. Nikolai begins setting up his equipment inside the house. While the four of them are playing Monopoly together, the fun suddenly stops when the dice begin floating in midair. Moments later, the man in white appears and starts chasing them. After striking the creature with a chair, Madison and the others run into a bedroom for safety. Madison slams the door shut, severing the creature's fingers before it suddenly vanishes. The next day, Madison reviews the video footage from the previous night. She is shocked to notice the logo of Austin's company on the creature's uniform, Camset. The scientist who was trapped inside the laboratory also worked for Camset. He was part of a team involved in Project Echo, a series of teleportation experiments that were shut down because human beings were being used as test subjects. As Madison investigates Project Echo further, she is shocked to learn that Nikolai was one of the scientists involved in the project. After confronting him, Nikolai explains that he quit once they began using criminals as human test subjects. After conducting more research, Nikolai discovers that the numbers on the creature's uniform are actually coordinates. The first point leads to Madison's house, while the second points directly to the Camset laboratory. Madison realizes that Camset has been trying to force them out because they want to expand their research area. Nikolai theorizes that the creature may actually be a prisoner brought back from the future through Project Echo. Hearing this, Madison becomes determined to fight back and kill it. Madison and the others begin creating improvised weapons and setting traps around the house. When the ghost appears again, Madison tells Jacob and Haley to hide in the basement. At the same time, Austin arrives and pounds on the front door. Suddenly, the door swings open, and the man in white attacks him and kills him instantly. Madison and Nikolai fight back and manage to injure the man. Shortly afterward, 2 police officers arrive because Austin had called them before he died. Madison rushes downstairs to retrieve Haley and Jacob, but the creature suddenly murders both officers. As Madison and her children are cornered, the man suddenly stops after noticing objects inside the room. Seeing an opportunity, Madison attacks him, but he manages to wound her. The man then scratches Jacob's cheek, and Madison notices that the same wound appears on the man's face as well. Jacob suddenly collapses, and Nikolai shoots the man from behind. Madison stops Nikolai from finishing him off, but she then collapses from severe blood loss. More police officers begin arriving outside. Meanwhile, Madison lies dying beside the man, and both of them suddenly disappear in a flash of light. In the future, 2 officers escort the man in white, who is revealed to be Jacob himself. One of the officers explains that Jacob was imprisoned after attempting to bomb a Camset facility to avenge his mother's death. As the scientists trigger the alarm, Madison stops them and lies beside her son. While officers continue searching the house in the present, Madison suddenly reappears and embraces Jacob, and that's the end of the movie. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more movie recaps.